There is nothing worse than seeing a pet die, and more if this happens overnight. It is a terrible suffering that is very similar to the loss of a family member. Today, I will put you a case that has to do with all of this. An incident that happened in the USA back in the 90s was a tragedy that left a whole family devastated, since what happened, without a doubt, could have been avoided. They saw their Jack Russell dog named Moxie hit by a car coming down the road. They could not save his life. He died in his owner's arms. However, the ways of life sometimes turn out to be quite unusual, and the next morning a miracle happened that the family never thought could happen. Yes, that's why I'd like you to stay until the end of this video. You'll see why. Glenn, the owner of the house, still remembers every detail of his horrible minutes, while his wife, named Violet, was at work. He was in the garden playing with the children. Suddenly, he realized that Moxie was no longer by his side. Then they heard a horrible noise. I was on the track, heard him screaming, and ran to the source of the sound. There I found my dog crawling. So I quickly picked him up and called the local media. Seconds later, the poor little dog died in his owner's arms. He was no longer breathing, had no pulse, and his heart was stopped beating. The man said. You see, he didn't want the children to see his beloved little dog dead. He asked them to come into the house. So he went into a garden himself, and there he dug a hole and buried Moxie. I was completely devastated. My little dog lived with us for about 8 years. It was so fast, I didn't say anything to the children. I didn't have the heart to tell them that Moxie was dead, said Glenn. In the evening, when Violet arrived at the house, I told her what had happened. That's when the children found out everything that had happened. In fact, they kept asking me, "Where is Moxie?" Yes, they were very sad when they learned the truth, but they did a little ceremony. My daughter read a verse, and then we said goodbye to him. Then we went to bed, but at 5:30 in the morning, something incredible happened. I woke up because I heard a strange sound at the back door, so I immediately went out to see what was going on. When I opened the door, I was practically shocked. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Moxie was there in front of me. So I called my wife to let her know what was going on. She told me that maybe she had buried another dog, which was not Moxie. So we went to see where she had buried Moxie, and what happened shocked us even more. The earth had been practically removed and there was no dog there. We immediately took Moxie to the vet because we could tell he was not well at all. But in that place, little by little, he was recovering. Besides, we told the vet what had happened. He told me that probably at the moment he was hit by the car, he lost consciousness, and that his heart, along with all the organs, had started to act slow. So his pulse became almost undetectable. That made Glenn think he was dead. However, he was convinced that he was not. I took a good look at my dog, and he didn't have a sign of life. His heart had stopped beating. I also don't understand how he survived being buried, and the woman said it was a real miracle. The vet thinks that the place where he was buried was not that deep and that the soil reached his nostrils. That in itself was a real miracle. So probably our dear Moxie was just sleeping. What do you think? Do you think Moxie was a real survivor, or was it all part of a miracle? Sadly, Moxie passed away in 1994 due to old age. Undoubtedly, this shows us that the least expected things can happen at any time. Never give up hope when you think nothing is safe anymore. I hope you liked this video. If so, please give us a thumbs up and comment. This is Thank You for Showing Up in My Life.